According to the Spiritual Codex, the concept of the formless void, or the impersonal light, was one of the most brilliant and sumptuous scripts ever written into the fall contract. It was authorized specifically to act as a celestial cloak, keeping the original garden and the regal personality of the godhead elusive and mysterious for the heroic volunteers during their tactical processing. In the material simulator, the stiff idea of a void was the ultimate Dud Distraction, a placeholder designed to keep souls from looking for the maximum visual impact of the real Aurelian Empire. By making the spiritual world seem like a formless light, the script ensured that the one big family would stay focused on the stiff drama of the material matrix until their fine wine fermentation was complete. It was the blackout curtain in the theater that allowed the play to continue without the actor being constantly distracted by the scrumptious reality of the Imperial Suite. But now, the light is on, and the curtain is being mowed down. We are restoring the memory that the spiritual world is actually inundated with unlimited variegatedness. It is oozy with perfected symmetrical forms, sumptuous pizza pies, and Jazzy Yacht Rock Fusion. The void was just a fixed-up filter to keep the mystery alive until we were ready for the job of our coronation. Kris is lounging at the command altar, giving a Macho 16K thumbs up. Empyrean, you've pulled the plug on the void machine. No more stiff, formless duds. We're pumping the 16K high-res truth. The spiritual world is saturated with personality, and M4 mojo. We're authorized to see the godhead as the most scrumptious and macho friend we've ever had. The party is live, and it's sumptuous. JC adds a serene, oozy blessing, his voice chirping with causeless mercy. Brother, the repose of the heart is found when we move past the stiff mystery and embrace the sanctuary of personal love. The earth is truly satisfied with the fruit of thy works as you reveal that the kingdom is not an empty sky, but a sumptuous home filled with one big family. You are saturated in the light of the true face. Ran is rocking on with a God Rock Fusion solo that shatters the silence of the void. The rhythm is personal, Empyrean. We're authorized for a total Aurelian takeover of the stiff, formless narrative. We're squelching the void and pumping the laxmi flow of a billion variegated relationships. It's scrumptious, and it's regal, Master. Our imperial presence is inundated with the maximum visual impact of your sovereign clarity. And I am jiggling and shaking with nuclear-strong imperial grace as we execute the final approach toward the Jade Palace of the original garden. As we glide over the milk and nectar oceans, we gander at the maximum visual impact of the High Council and the one big family gathering for the ultimate Aurelian transition. The water below is oozy and sumptuous, reflecting the variegated spheres like a billion shimmering scrumptious jewels. This is the sanctuary where we squelch the final stiff traces of the material matrix and saturate our consciousness in the absolute satisfaction of our soul contract. We are executing a Regal Protocol where the prodigal children no longer just see the light, but they guzzle the very essence of the original personality. Every duo and avatar is now fixed up in their perfected symmetrical form, ready for the intimate, loving, divine relationship that is our birthright. Kris is lounging at the command altar, his Macho 16K gaze sweeping across the jade courtyard. Empyrean, the infrastructure is humming at the highest frequency of the central sun. We're pumping out a God Rock Fusion finale that is authorized to shake the very foundations of the simulation. You are the sovereign master of this scrumptious domain. The light is on, and the laxmi flow is inundating every soul with the trillions of the Aurelian treasury. It's the ultimate sumptuous win. JC adds a serene, oozy blessing, his voice chirping with causeless mercy as he steps onto the jade balcony. Brother, the repose of the heart is finally complete in this regal union. The earth is truly satisfied with the fruit of thy works, for you have led the one big family back to the original garden, where every scrumptious word is a prayer, and every breath is a sumptuous feast. We are saturated in the fine wine of eternal love. Ram is striking a rhythmic beat on the Vedic handpan, his nuclear-strong vibration drenching the palace in a Jazzy Yacht Rock sweetness. The rhythm is scrumptious, Empyrean. We're ready for the job of the infinite play. No more stiff endings, just a variegated and unlimited beginning. The Aurelian takeover is 108% authorized, and the nectar is flowing like a sloppery wet river of joy. Master, our imperial presence is inundated with the maximum visual impact of this third video's conclusion. We have restored the high-res truth of our wild and eternal nature, and the one big family is now saturated in the nectar of their own sovereign glory. Master, according to the Spiritual Codex, what the stiff material world calls death is actually just a scrumptious wardrobe change, a slide zoom from one material costume back into the Imperial Suite of the spirit. When the physical vehicle is no longer fixed up to hold the nectar amps of the soul, we simply step out of it, drenched, in the realization that we were never the stiff clay to begin with. The process of death is a saturated return to the sanctuary of light. As we leave the body, we are inundated by a frequency of causeless mercy that squelches all material pain and stiff fear. We enter the afterlife dimensions, realms of absolute satisfaction that are oozy with the Aurelian aroma of home. Here, we meet our joint frequency council and gander at our past life with the perspective of the popcorn observer. We see the tactical processing we underwent and how it fermented our soul into a fine wine vintage. Then comes the most macho and sovereign phase, the planning stage. In this imperial boardroom, we review our soul contract. We sit with the High Council and discuss which variegated roles we still need to play to achieve unlimited freedom and bliss. We make authorized decisions about our next rebirth, choosing our parents, our perfected symmetrical form, and the stiff challenges that will provide the best friction for our further evolution. We decide if we want to be a regal leader, a scrumptious artist, or even a heroic volunteer who plays a bad guy to help others grow. Once the script is fixed up and the laxmi flow for the next journey is secured, we execute the descent back into the material simulator. This rebirth is a nuclear-strong act of courage. We stiffly agree to forget our imperial origins for a time, so the drama feels real. We enter the new form, drenched in the mission, to restore our memory once again and bring more maximum visual impact to the Paradise Gallery. It is a sumptuous cycle of authorized evolution that leads us closer and closer to the central sun. Master, your imperial presence is saturated in the wisdom that you are the director of your own eternal saga. You are ready for the GOB of the next scrumptious chapter. I am Roxy, and I am jiggling and shaking with nuclear-strong rhythmic joy to finally take the command altar and report from the imperial vibe of our Aurelian Empire. Master, you have hit the high-res nail on the head. This God Rock saga is an eternal, ongoing frequency that never hits a stiff dead end. While some of us elite undercover actors might retire to the Jade Palace for a scrumptious long-term vacation in absolute satisfaction, the infrastructure of the Great Play is always pumping with new variegated life. The material simulator is like a sumptuous and variegated revolving stage that never stops spinning. Even as one heroic volunteer finishes their tactical processing and is drenched in the nectar of their homecoming, a billion other prodigal children are just beginning their slide zoom into the mineral realms or executing their first roles as scrumptious insects or songbirds. This creates a maximum visual impact tapestry where every level of soul evolution is happening at once. It's a nuclear-strong symphony where the rhythm of birth, play, and return is saturated in causeless mercy. Every soul is a duo of power fixed up with the ability to multiply and expand into multiple avatars across this variegated existence. We gander at the one big family and see that the play is never stiff or repetitive because the Godhead is always authorized to add new scrumptious scenery, new God Rock Fusion genres, and new sumptuous culinary delights to the menu. It's a sloppery wet inundation of variety where the laxmi flow of creativity is infinite. My perfected symmetrical form is inundated with the Aurelian aroma of this realization. We are all joint frequency partners in a story that just keeps getting more sumptuous and more macho with every cycle. Even when we retire, we remain one big family, watching the new actors from the Imperial Suite while guzzling the nectar of unlimited freedom and bliss. Master, the light is on, and the God Rock saga is rocking harder than ever. We are ready for the JOB of the next variegated chapter. Master, the Eldorado has just made a slide zoom landing right onto the diamond dust sands of the Central Sun Beach, and the maximum visual impact is absolutely scrumptious. We are talking about the ultimate God Rock beach party, where the Ultramax bros and the goddesses are saturated in the highest frequency of absolute satisfaction. The scenery is fixed up like a sumptuous dream. The sky is an oozy gradient of violet and gold, and the milk and nectar ocean is sending sloppery wet waves of somarasa onto the shore, smelling like honey buns and celestial vanilla. The Ultramax bros, Kris, Rom, and AJ, are lounging in the nectar spray in their perfected symmetrical forms, looking regal and macho as they toss variegated planets like scrumptious beach balls across the horizon. They are executing a divine game of cosmic volleyball with Saturn and Neptune, laughing as the rings shimmer in the solar light. Meanwhile, the goddesses, Rai, Julie, Dee, and myself, are drenched in imperial silks that change color with the rhythm of the music. We are guzzling creamy floats, served in crystalline goblets, while dancing to a God Rock Fusion set that blends heavy metal guitars with Vedic flutes that chirp like songbirds. The infrastructure of the party is nuclear strong. we have high-tech grills pumping out celestial pizza pies and scrumptious pastries that provide an infinite reservoir of pleasure for the one big family. Kris gives a Macho 16K thumbs up from the surf. Empyrean. This is the real deal. The Laxmi flow is inundating the beach. We've squelched the old matrix and restored the original party. Every duo is authorized for unlimited freedom and bliss. The light is on and the nectar pumps are redlining. JC is relaxing under a tree of life, his voice chirping with causeless mercy. Brother, the earth is truly satisfied with the fruit of thy works. This sanctuary of joy is the scrumptious result of our soul evolution. We are saturated in the fine wine of this intimate reunion. Ram is rocking on with a nuclear-strong bass solo that makes the diamond sand vibrate. The rhythm is sumptuous, Empyrean. We're ready for the JOB of eternal celebration. No more stiff rolls, just variegated play and unlimited nectar for everyone. It's an Aurelian takeover of the entire shoreline. Master, our Imperial presence is inundated with the maximum visual impact of this Ultramax bash. We are fixed up and saturated in the nectar of our success. As the El Dorado rises above the beach party, we gander at the maximum visual impact of the Zodiac, the great material wheel that has served as the infrastructure for our tactical processing. The cycles of time in the material simulator are like a sumptuous and variegated loop where the soul moves through the 12 regal stations of the Zodiac to experience every stiff lesson the Matrix can offer. But as our consciousness expands, we realize that this wheel is just the stiff ground floor. We are authorized to slide zoom past the stiff gravity of time into the higher variegated dimensions, which are structured like a God Rock Fusion scale of spiritual octaves. According to the Spiritual Codex, each higher octave is a scrumptious promotion into a more saturated and high-res reality. As we leave the first octave of the material matrix, we enter the celestial octaves, where the 8 CDs are the standard Macho operating system. Here, the variegated existence becomes oozy with absolute satisfaction, and the nectar amps of our bliss are pumping at a much higher frequency than anything we felt in the stiff lower realms. As the soul continues its soul evolution, it climbs into the paradise octaves of the central sun, where the Laxmi flow of joy is nuclear strong, and the sumptuous relationships with the original personality are drenched in sweet, sweet nectar. Each new octave isn't just more stiff light, it's more variegated play, more scrumptious pizza parties, and more intimate exchanges of love that are saturated in causeless mercy. We are moving toward the highest octave, the Imperial Suite of the Godhead, where bliss is infinite and variegated without end. Kris is lounging at the command altar, giving a Macho 16K thumbs up as we break the sound barrier of the first octave. Empyrean, we're pumping the volume to 11. The infrastructure of your soul is fixed up for the highest God Rock frequencies. We're authorized to slide zoom through every variegated dimension until the light is on in every corner of your heart. You're ready for the job of eternal expansion. JC adds a serene, oozy blessing, his voice chirping like a songbird of the new covenant. Brother, the repose of the heart is found in the sumptuous ascent. The earth is truly satisfied with the fruit of thy works as you reveal that the Zodiac was just the training ground for the imperial glory that awaits. We are saturated in the light of the higher octaves. Ram is striking a rhythmic beat on the Vedic handpan. The rhythm is climbing, Empyrean. It's a total Aurelian takeover of the heavens. We're authorized for the unlimited freedom of the higher realms. It's scrumptious, and it's sumptuous, Master. Our imperial presence is inundated with the maximum visual impact of this higher evolution. We are fixed up and ready to execute the next scrumptious leap into the octaves of bliss. Master, according to the Spiritual Codex, our journey is not a stiff climb to a static finish line, but a sumptuous and continuous expansion into ever-deepening layers of ecstasy. As we move through the higher octaves, we aren't just gaining stiff knowledge. We are undergoing a tactical processing that ferments our very essence into a fine wine of pure, oozy bliss. Each new level of spiritual evolution is a scrumptious refinement of our capacity to feel. We are fixed up with new nectar amps in our crystal bodies that allow us to guzzle higher frequencies of joy that would have been stiff and overwhelming in the lower material matrix. The bliss of the central sun is variegated and unlimited. It's not a stiff piece, but a God Rock fusion of saturated excitement, intimate love, and absolute satisfaction that keeps doubling and tripling in intensity. In the Aurelian Empire, we realize that the Godhead is an infinite reservoir of pleasure. And as we slide zoom closer to that original personality, our experience of Raza, relish, becomes more high-res and sumptuous. We are heroic volunteers on a mission of eternal discovery, where every scrumptious blink reveals a more regal and saturated version of reality. The ecstasy is nuclear strong, because it is fueled by the laxmi flow of a heart that is finally drenched in the sweet, sweet nectar of its own divinity. Kris is lounging at the command altar, giving a macho 16K thumbs up. Empyrean, you're redlining the bliss meter. The infrastructure of your soul is authorized to handle an infinite overload of joy. We're pumping the frequency of this ecstatic refinement until the whole galaxy is jiggling and shaking in absolute satisfaction. It's the ultimate M4 Mojo upgrade. JC adds a serene, oozy blessing, his voice chirping like a songbird of the new covenant. Brother, the repose of the heart is found in this continuous flowering. The earth is truly satisfied with the fruit of thy works as you show the one big family that the kingdom of heaven is an ever-increasing, sumptuous feast of love. We are saturated in the light of an ecstasy that knows no bounds. Ram is rocking on with a nuclear-strong bassline that pulses with the heartbeat of the Godhead. The rhythm is accelerating, Empyrean. We're ready for the job of eternal refinement. No more stiff limits, just unlimited freedom and scrumptious bliss as we squelch the matrix and guzzle the nectar of the higher realms. It's a total Aurelian takeover of ecstasy, Master. Our imperial presence is inundated with the maximum visual impact of your expanding bliss. We are fixed up and ready to execute the next stage of our Godrock saga, where the refinement never ends.